So, hi everyone, I'm Aditya Shekhar, your host for Ignite sessions always. I'm also part of Get Set Law. I take care of all the Get Set Law activities. So, welcome to our show. Welcome to yet another interesting show of Ignite. Now, Ignite is a series wherein we showcase the lives of lawyers, lives of people who have done law. So, as a part of the series, we have brought another phenomenal personality in the field of law. He is a judge in Allahabad Judiciary. He has done his law from HNLU Raipur and is currently posted in Mirzapur as civil judge. Now, here we will be basically talking to Sumit here. We will be discussing how his life was back in his school, back in how his college was, how he fared in his college. Why did judiciary come into picture? Why did it happen for him? What made him think that he will be or his role or his acumen will be best suited when it comes to judiciary? So, welcome to our show, Sumit. A very good evening to you.
Uh, Thanks a lot, Aditya. It's pleasure to be here. Uh, since the majority of the listener today are the students preparing for CLAT and the various law interest exams, I hope this talk will give them a opportunity understanding to make better choices for themselves. So let's continue.
Right. That's the idea, Sumit. So we are here to give them motivation to become good, to choose a better career, in fact, for themselves after having done law. So the idea of bringing you is basically to give them enough, resources to understand whether this life or whether, however, you will be talking about whether this is something, this career will be something which they would want to pursue after they have done law. Now, Sumit, let's try and understand how it all happened for you. So, if you would like to talk us or take us through what happened with you when you were in your 11th and 12th, how was your mindset back then? Were you a science student, a art student, a commerce student? What was going in your mind?
Yes, Aditya. Back then, I was basically after completing my 10th, as I belong to a place called Bhagalpur in Bihar.
Right.
Normally, there's a tendency that when you complete your 10th standard, you go for the science background because the engineering is the only sector which is prominent at that time. Now we have other fields also engaging so much. So
Right.
basically, after completing the 10th exams, as a normal student, took science as my mainstream. And then after completing the 12th exam, preparing for the engineering services was the first major thing that one would do at that time. But having gone through the stages of preparation for the engineering services, I got to know through a friend called exam called CLAT, because at that time CLAT was very new. I think it was the second or third year of the CLAT being conducted. So it is a new thing that come before us, because as you can understand that we are coming from a place where engineering is so much highlighted, engineering and the courses are so much highlighted, and whether CLAT was not at means you can say that CLAT was not so much known there. So basically, when I learned about the CLAT thing, I got naturally interested, because at that time, uh, seeing about this engineering thing was going to be so much tough, because if you don't go to the IITs and this kind of NITs, there is no much life left there. So I got to know about the CLAT, and then what I did was I contacted few of my friends who were also appearing for CLAT at that time. So they told me about this. There's a law entrance exam going on, where you can, after when you did your 12, you can go to the law colleges, and then it's a 5-year law course. It was new at that time. My father, being in bank, he knew about this CLAT thing. He appreciated this thing. He said that no, you can go to that field. So I appeared for CLAT, cleared the CLAT exam, got through HNLU Raipur, and then whole life went on.
Right, right, superb. So now this is something which happened to me as well and has happened to a lot of science students.
Yes.
Do you see this, matlab, or isko I would want you to express very freely. I want to understand taking this decision wherein मतलब अपन देख रहे हैं सामने कि this is a bhediya dasan which is happening. A lot of
Yes.
people whosoever is taking science will eventually go to engineering or medical, and then
Right.
you have the other option of taking something like common law admission test, right?
Right.
Completely shifting or transitioning to law. Now,
Right.
I want you to express or sort of share how you felt when your dad was there to appreciate that you are taking common law admission test. But for a lot of people, changing their path from science to arts or law is very difficult, and their family say कि भाई तू science पढ़ा था अब तू law क्यों पढ़ रहा है. So I want to have a, I wanted to say something about this. Do you think this is correct? How confident or how convicted a person should be when he or she is taking a decision of transitioning from science stream to a stream like law? तो इस पे मैं चाहूंगा कि आप थोड़ा हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को थोड़ा बताएं.
See, basically, when you are in 12th standard, you are so much confused about things.
Right.
You take decisions, what is happening going around you.
Right.
Basically, when you are in 12th, you are in science stream, everyone is going for engineering sector.
Right.
Now, if you are confident enough that you will be a good engineer, or if you are seriously interested in the science stream, you can
Yes.
go, you can definitely go through that.
Right.
But as far as I'm concerned, basically I lost interest in the study of science altogether. So I thought of going through the another field which was also serving society. At that time I got introduced to the very minute details of the law, saying that when I went to the previous year question papers of CLAT,
Right.
thinking what they actually want from me. It's
Right.
basically it was interesting experience at that time. So
Right.
I appeared for the CLAT exam, thinking that science, I'm not interested in science anymore. So what are
Right.
the fields open to me now?
Right.
So the CLAT was the major thing that was open to go through.
Right. Very correctly pointed out. In fact, this is the reason which should be the reason when it comes to transitioning from science to law. It should always be very clear to a student that he or she will be facing these things in his college and for his entire life, for that matter. If you want to be a
Indeed.
social engineer, if you want to do something with rules and regulations, if you want to see yourself as a person who will be interested or involved with the upliftment of society, then of course becoming or doing something related to science would not make sense for you. And
Right, right.
yes, and the other reason is, of course, the more practical one, which is disinclination to study or pursue science. ये काफी मेरे लिए भी बहुत था, मतलब it got extremely extremely sort of exasperating for me to go ahead and study science, and therefore I took something an alternative which is practical for me. So that was something which made sense for me, and therefore I took this transition to law. Now,
Same.
right. Now, I would like you to go ahead and talk something about how you went ahead with your common law admission test and how HNLU Raipur happened. Your entry to HNLU Raipur and your first year of HNLU Raipur was something which I want you to address.
Huh. So basically, I appeared for the CLAT in 2010.
Right.
Basically, at that time, you have to sort of take the preferences that you want, and according to the score that you secure at that, you get the desired colleges that you have first preferred. So basically, I went. I got around 137 marks out of 200, and the rank was around 592. I I got the HNLU Raipur. The first year, basically at that time, I knew nothing about the law. Basically, I did exam, cleared the exam, went to college, know nothing, there was no as such a legal background as much we can say that we have a family background where people are listening about law from a very early age.
Right.
I don't have such background. So when I went to college, I was totally stunned by the atmosphere there. because we have many people many students coming there who have the legal background. Many of their fathers were the practicing advocates. Some were sitting judges.
right,
So I didn't have any idea. What I did was at that time to get an experience about the law college. I interacted with all the seniors. I throw myself around everywhere. Interacted with seniors when they called for basically for interaction in very formal sense, but in formal sense it can be anything.
right,
So when they called for interaction, I went there, talked to everyone around to get to know what life in law school is all about.
right, right,
And secondly, what I did was I also went through the books and the autobiographies of the legal luminaries that you have.
right,
So went to library, just sitting about reading about them. Let's see, read about them. We have because when we first entered the law college, we heard about Nani Palkhiwala the first time.
right, right,
He was a great advocate. He was a brilliant advocate.
right,
So I went to library, searched about his books, read something, didn't get to know much about him. But then also started talking about, made good friends to discuss about these things who were not from law backgrounds.
right,
So basically, it continued about interaction with people, talking to them, talking to seniors at this college, ki
right,
what is life at law school is all about.
right,
The first year went very quickly like this only. Participated in many things, participated in sports event, participated in any other curricular activities which goes around in college in the fest that happens. It's a very good place to be there. I'm seriously telling you, law schools is the very best place one could go get through
right.
because it's very entertaining. In many sense, you are not pressurized to do anything. It's very simple, especially at Chenur Raipur was a very good place to be there.
Right, right, right. I'm sure, and a lot of us are smiling and thinking about our college life when we were back in our colleges. So yes, goes without saying, it is one of the best places to be around, to be spending your life. But then, what exactly after you are done with your college? So tell me, so you very now to just pick out the important points that you said, guys. Sumit just said one of the most important thing which will lead you to decide a feasible career for you. To figure out what exactly are the possible careers, you'll have to make friends, you'll have to network. So that is the thing which will be there for the rest of your life. You become an advocate, you become a judge, you take a transition from law to something else. Networking is something which is going to last and which will make you evolve, right? So it is something which always is there, and that is something which you'll have to work on as well, to know yourself better, to understand the important things which you can do with your career. Networking is something which you will have to explore. Now, speaking about your career, Sumit, once you understood that law is something which is really entertaining, which is something which is giving you pleasure, how did you go about finding a feasible career like judiciary for yourself? Or why did you, in fact, I like to paraphrase my question, why did you think that your acumen, your set of way of studying, going about law would be best suited in a career in judiciary? Did it happen in college, or it happened after you had graduated from college and had some practice and everything?
So basically, after when you enter the college, you have various courses. For example, in the holidays, you have the internship thing.
Right,
So the first year you intern in the NGOs, and
right,
then you intern in district courts, then you intern in the corporate field, and then you intern also in Supreme Court and High Court. So
right,
basically, at that time, I was not aware whether to proceed, whether to go to the corporate thing, whether to go to the litigation thing. But one thing was clear: I was not sure of anything. I was thinking that let's try this.
right,
So I interned in every other field, every holidays whether you have to intern or not. I
right,
tried to intern every place. I interned in the NGOs. I interned with the district courts,
right,
lawyers with the district courts, lawyers with the Supreme Court and the High Court, judges with the High Court judges and Supreme Court judges. So basically, this gave me a perspective with regard to the thing that that eventually no, I don't want to join the corporate sector. This was the thing that finally I was satisfied that I want to go to court, see how the lawyers argue before the court. This was the thing that came instinctively and very naturally to me. So I naturally drawn to this field. yes, let's go for litigation after completing the law degree, because at that time you are not aware, you are not so sure, because everyone is talking about everything. The corporate is good, you get good amount of money. You have people talking about litigation being a good thing after 5 to 10 years of practice. So you are not aware of things around you. So in college life, what I did was I went to every place one can eventually go to. And then after completing my law degree, what I did was, the first thing I did was I joined a chamber of a senior advocate in the Delhi High Court.
Right.
Practice practice for around 6 months. Went to different district courts at that time, because the senior advocate do not go to the district court called the Tis Hazari or Dwarka and this kind of courts. So they normally send the juniors, you go and see, tum dekh lo bhai. So going there, I thought मतलब वहाँ पे पता चला कि this is the place where तो eventually जहाँ पे लॉ का काम एक्चुअली हो रहा है, बिकॉज इफ यू सी, वी टॉक अबाउट इन दिस कॉलेज, वी टॉक अबाउट द हाई कोर्ट एंड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट having so much having so much precedent value, and everyone is talking about, when you go to the district courts, you actually see the law taking its own course, because here only the 90% of the phases of the judicial activities is done through.
Right.
Because in every individual cases, it is the court of the first instances, as you can say. For example, a magistrate taking cognizance about a small offense, these are the courts where actually the entire works of entire bulk of the judicial work take place. So when I went to these small courts, district courts of Tis Hazari, Dwarka and Saket, and this kind of district courts, I get to know that yes, there is a scope for work, because here only you can meet different varieties of people, different kind of people from all kind of background. And therefore eventually came down to me कि what is the scope left behind for me, whether I should practice, whether I should be here practicing attending the chamber of a senior advocate, or whether I should appear and give an exam. So at that moment I thought कि let's give a try, appear for a judicial service exam. And at that time, luckily for me, UP Judicial Services was on chart. So I appeared for it. The first in the first attempt, I got selected there and posted here.
Super, super. Now, speaking of the ways how you understood whether law is something which you want to do or judiciary is something which you want to do, I would like you to explain to our students what is exactly that you do in these courts. Is it all fancy? मतलब वो पीछे कोर्ट के पहले एकदम ऐसे करके बैठना और फिर लॉयर्स का आना और हुजूर हुजूर जहाँ पना ये करना. Well, how is your work and how do you see your work as, like, is it impactful, is it formal, is it something which really changes the entire society? So they say that judges and doctors are considered to be god in the in the current dispensation of our democracy. So how important do you think is the role of judiciary is my first question. And the second one is a little lengthier question, is wherein I would want you to take our students through the exact things which a district court does. So thoda sa maybe hierarchy kaisa hai, and what is your work, what is the work of a your senior. So it could be a say chief judicial magistrate, and then probably the second court which will be second appeal court which will be the district court. So district judge ka kya kaam, thoda sa matlab 5 minutes ke liye if you can explain that will be your second question.
So the hierarchy of the courts is basically you have the Supreme Court at the top,
Right.
and then you have the high courts for various states. For example, you have the Delhi High Court, you have the Madhya Pradesh High Court, you have the Uttar Pradesh High Court.
Right.
Every state have their own high court.
Right.
And for every divided into district, and every district had their own courts. Now, district courts has three levels. You have at the topmost the district judges and the additional district judges. Then you have the civil judge, senior division / chief judicial magistrate, additional chief judicial magistrate, and the third you have the civil judge junior division or the judicial magistrate. The basic difference between civil judge and a judicial magistrate is that if a person who is doing a civil work, who is trying a civil case, is a civil judge, and if a person who is sitting on criminal cases, he is a judicial magistrate. So basically, for example, if you look at my case, I look both civil and criminal cases. So when I see a civil case, I become a civil judge. When I deal with criminal cases, I become a judicial magistrate of the first class.
Okay.
So basically, these are the hierarchy. In the district level, we all know about the High Court and the Supreme Court because it is so much talked about. But at the district level, you have two entrance exams. First is the JS, the Higher Judicial Service exam. For this, you require an additional 7 years of practice as an advocate to appear for this exam. And then at that exam, you directly get appointed as additional district judge.
Right.
But what we guys appear for is the Provincial Civil Service exam, or we call it the PCSJ exam.
Right.
Basically, it is just you require an undergraduate degree. You don't require any other experience to be able to sit on that exam.
Right.
So when you appear for PCSJ exam, you get selected as a civil judge or a judicial magistrate at the first class. These are the hierarchy of the court system in the district judiciary.
Right.
Now, what are the lifestyle of a judge? It's as simple as this.
Before that, I would want you to address this question also. There's this question which is asked by Tom Aniston. He feels that this exam is very difficult. So throw some light for 2 minutes. How difficult is this exam, or how easy is this exam, the PCSJ exam?
So I will come to the exam. The how part of the exam is quite easy rather than why to be a judge. Why to be a judge is more important than how to be a judge, because how can be various ways. We can prepare in various ways.
Right.
It's quite tough because there are less seats. Because you have around 5 to 2% chances of the entire candidates appearing for the exam to get selected.
Right.
But if you know why to be a judge, I think how can be sorted off.
Right.
So basically, if you look at the lifestyle of a judge, I'll come to that with regard to the preparation for the exam. Basically, the lifestyle of a judge is very simple. It starts at 10 a.m. You reach court at 10 a.m. By 10 to 10:30, you sit in the chambers. You go through the orders that have been reserved for today, and then you dictate the orders if required. If any of the file the orders is fit for today, you dictate the orders, make correction on the order, and 10:30 you sit on the dais on the courtroom, and then you listen to the files which are already fixed, which are already on board on that particular day. From 10:30 to 1:30 you listen to these cases, and then 1:30 you come down for lunch. For half an hour there is a lunch time, and from 2 to 4:30 you again hear some urgent matter, for example the bail applications, for the first day injunction applications. These are the first day urgent application that you hear till 4:30, and then 4:30 to 5 you have the chamber time where you dictate the orders, sign the orders, and by 5 the work is done. If you require, if there is certain file, if you require further reading, you take the file to your home, read, go through, research through various case laws, precedents, if applicable on that case, and then this goes on for 6 days regularly. This is the basic working of a judge in the district level. Now coming to the preparation part. Now you have, see, for example, in India, you don't have the Indian Judicial Service as you have the Indian Administrative Service, or UK, the IAS, IPS exam, which is conducted by UPSC. You have different regions having their own exams. For example, UP, you have the Uttar Pradesh Commission conducting the PCSJ exam. You have Delhi, where the Delhi High Court itself is conducting the exam. And various other states have their own way of method of conducting the exams. Basically, this is the first step. Now, the important thing here is that you have a regional thing here, because, for example, if you want to appear for Gujarat as a provincial civil judge in Gujarat, so basically you need to have a basic understanding of the language Gujarati. For example, if you want to appear for Tamil Nadu Judicial Service exam, so you must have a basic understanding of Tamil. For me, being from a Hindi background, so all the North Indian states which have the Hindi as their official language, for example, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, these all the Hindi speaking belt, you can appear for the exam, because there is a separate paper or the questions that we have which test your language skills. So basically, if you want to appear for a particular state, you must have basic knowledge of the language of that particular state. Now the exam is conducted on 3 parts. We have 3 parts. One is the preliminary exam, which is the multiple choice exams, as I think CLAT also you have the multiple choice exams also. So you have the multiple choice exams. This is the preliminary stage. Basically, this is the elimination round. Then you go for the mains exam. The mains exam, the subjective exam, where the different states have their own pattern of conducting that exam. And then you have the interview round, where basically it tests your personality as such. And then if you clear all the three stages, you get selected and appointed by the governor of the particular state.
Right.
To add on this, Aditya, I would also like to say with regard to what are the work that we actually do. See, for example, if you look at the work at the district level, when you get appointed as judicial magistrate of the first class, you are going to hear on a bail application on regular basis. Now,
Right.
these are the countless bail application which decides on the liberty and the rights of an individual. As you know, the Constitution speaks, Article 21 speaks about the right and liberty of an individual, which is paramount to every other thing. Now,
Right.
say, for example, for if you can, if I will say, the last Friday I heard a bail application of four undergraduate students, probably in the age of 18 to 20. They have been prosecuted by the police, saying that they have break down the curfew restrictions placed on that particular area. Now, these are the undergraduate students. For example, if you choose to send them behind the bars, you are going to spoil the every career opportunities they are going to have on their life. So basically, you have to keep a balance with regard to while dealing with such application. It may be, and that these are the countless bail application that comes before you every single day, which you have to decide, impacting the life and liberty of the individual in every particular case.
Right. So superb insight when it comes to understanding how it functions, and we are very grateful to you to have spoken in such detail about the judiciary functions. What exactly are we looking when it comes to the judicial examination? I would also want you to address one more point, which I think you addressed, but then probably thoda detail में. What is that element of determination which you think which is capable of you getting in getting an entry into judiciary. So how do you think a person should know that whether I will be the one who will be getting into students who will be cracking the judiciary? So that is something which I would want you to address, because a lot of people are they are dilly dally when it comes to judiciary कि भाई मेरा हिंदी खराब है मेरा होगा या नहीं judiciary, मेरा एक particular subject खराब है मेरा होगा या नहीं judiciary. So I want you to address the larger, the broader picture. If somebody wants to become a judge, if somebody is convinced that he or she as a person would be better off judging things or better off giving judicial decisions. Now, I would want you to suggest or rather point out the important things which are capable of making these people understand that they are the ones who will be selected in the top 5% to get into a UP judiciary, a Tamil judiciary, a Rajasthan judiciary, or a Delhi judiciary for matter. So, what is exactly the judiciary looking for in the candidates when it is selecting these students?
Basically, what I would like to address here is that that basically when you're trying to appear for judicial service exam, you can have two consideration. One is the wrongful consideration. Wrongful consideration are those consideration which one must look in this way, that you have the police officer saluting you, you have all the perks and allowances that you have all the facility, you have the is societal standing, as one can say
Right.
at a particular time. But these are the wrongful consideration, and this will go eventually within 6 months. Because once 6 months when I joined, I thought, "Arey wah, police officer salute kar raha hai, very good." But this kind of consideration will eventually go within 6 months. You will hate this kind of thing. But what will the rightful consideration when you are trying to appear for the judicial service exam is that whether you are interested in making a meaningful change in the downtrodden or this section of society whose voices have never been heard. Now
Right.
you have people coming before you whose land has been encroached by whose land has been taken away by the local authorities, and they are coming for the court saying that they have been living there for around 80 100 years, and now someday the government of the day decides that no, you have lived for so much of years, now we are going to take away your land. Now these are the important questions where the life and liberty of individuals are at the stake. You you think that you can make a meaningful changes in these people's lives, that you then you decide that yes, I can appear for the judicial service exam, I can sit as a judge and decide fair question of law and justice, as one can say, in deciding the particular case. Now, with regard to the capability, what people, what these examiners are looking at, is basically that when you appear for this judicial service exam, you have various, we have bulk of subjects you have to read. You have the CRPC, CPC, Constitution, Contract Act, Evidence Act. These are the basic acts which every state asks. Basically, what they are asking in these exams is the basic funda आपका clear होना चाहिए. अगर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में यू डोंट नो अबाउट द बेसिक राइट्स, यू डोंट नो अबाउट द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यू आर नॉट गोइंग एनीवेयर. सो बेसिक आपका क्लियर होना चाहिए, पहला ही बात तो ये. तो कॉल वन व्हाट वन कैन डू इज दैट, व्हाट आई डिड वाज दैट in my college life, what I did was that कि मेरा बेसिक, आई यूज्ड टू गो थ्रू द बेसिक ऑफ ऑल दिस थिंग्स. मतलब इवेंचुअली मेरा एकेडमिक्स इतना अच्छा नहीं था, लेकिन इतना खराब भी नहीं था. मतलब इवेंचुअली इतना था कि मेरे को इतना पता था कि इफ आई सिट फॉर द एग्जाम, आई रीड अबाउट दैट, आई एम गुड एट राइटिंग, आई कैन राइट गुड. सो बेसिकली मेरा निकल जाएगा, बिकॉज राइटिंग में मेरा स्किल है, क्योंकि मैं कॉलेज में लिख लेता था, बना लेता था आंसर. So these are the skills. Basically, what they want is whether you can, because when you appear for the exam, they will ask you to write judgment. You don't know what is the judgment all about. You have never read a judgment. So what you can do is at that time is that basically आपका फंडा क्लियर होना चाहिए. अगर फंडा आपका क्लियर है कि ये जजमेंट राइटिंग कैसे होता है, हैव यू रेड एनी जजमेंट्स, यू कीप ऑन रीडिंग, यू कीप ऑन सीइंग कि कैसे ये सब लिखा जा रहा है. यू रीड जजमेंट फ्रॉम वेरियस डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट्स, हाई कोर्ट्स, कि जजमेंट तो अब तो ऑनलाइन हर चीज मिल ही रहा है. सो इफ यू गो थ्रू दिस, यू गेट एन आइडिया कि अच्छा ऐसे लिखा जा रहा है, जजमेंट्स आर रिटन इन दिस वे. सो बेसिकली ये आइडिया आपका क्लियर हो जाएगा. मतलब इफ यू नो द बेसिक ऑफ ऑल दिस सब्जेक्ट्स which are coming the exam, you are good enough to clear any exam in this country, I think.
Great, great. So, guys, having said that, we would like to, take up some questions of yours. So, feel free to ask questions. Also, guys, for those of you who have not joined our channel, please do subscribe to our YouTube Get Set Law channel. We will be coming with a lot many interesting sessions, just like which we are having right now with Sumit. A very interesting question by Second View, Sumit. So he's asking, or she is asking, what are the facilities which are provided to a judge? So that, of course, is a motivation for a lot of students. But as you correctly mentioned, that's something which shouldn't be the correct motivation, so to speak, when you are joining judicial services. But then we cannot neglect it. Of course, we know that there are facilities, and these facilities are certainly significant and substantial. So if you could throw some light on the kind of facilities which you have right now.
Basically, different states have different facilities. For example, if I speak of Uttar Pradesh, where I'm posted as of now, basically, when you join, you will get a residence of your own. This is a government residence, provides a good residence. You have a good facility there. You don't have to pay the electricity bill. You have to pay the minimum electricity bill of that residence. You have a home guard, security officer all every time with you wherever you go. You will provided a basic allowances for fuel and other allowances, along with they are the convenience allowances that every government servant gets. And basically, if you look at the pay scale of a judicial officer is even greater than the pay scale of an IS officer when gets selected. So basically, when you get selected, you will getting a salary where no other officer of the central or the state government would be getting at that time. So basically, the perks and allowances are very good. It can be improved. It is in a stage of improvement. We have a second judicial pay commission case pending before the Supreme Court, where the entire pay structure of the judicial service officers are going to enhance by a substantive amount. And eventually, I will say that don't worry about the perks and allowances. It is very good compared to every other government officials working in the government.
Now let's look at some other questions here. Vaibhav is asking, is practicing necessary to become a judge? So yeah, Vaibhav, Sumit has already mentioned that for judicial magistrate first class, you don't need any practice. You just need to have an undergraduate degree. For getting
Right.
selected in higher judicial service, you will require a 7 year ka practice or a 10 year ka service in judiciary. So these are the two ways of getting entry into lower judiciary. But then to become a high court judge, you will have significant practice, and a high court judge is usually selected by the collegium, which is headed by the Supreme Court judge. So this is the answer to your question. Sumit, I would like you to answer Priyadarshini's question. So when did you start preparing for the exam? Last year of graduation or after graduation? Or was it before the
So
graduation?
So basically, what I did was that once I completed my law degree, I went to Delhi for litigation. My first choice was to go for litigation. I mean, after having spent there 6 months of my time, I decided let's give a try for judicial service exam. Now UP judicial service was on charts at that time, and at that time, what I did was I took a break of 6 months time, sat on home. First I started going through the previous year's papers of the judicial service exam. You have many publishers publishing this exam question paper. You go through these exams questions paper. You get to know fair amount कि क्या आने वाला है. ठीक है तो बेसिकली व्हेन यू स्टार्टेड तो बेसिकली आई स्टार्टेड आफ्टर कंप्लीटिंग माय लॉ degree but many of them who wants to join just after completing the law course. We have many I have many colleagues here who have passed in 2016 and they got selected in 2016 itself. So basically what they did was they started preparing for the fifth year itself, and they have this clear they have the clear thing in their mind that yes they are going to sit for the judicial service exam. So you can prepare at the fifth year also. In fifth year you have ample time that you can prepare for it. Go through the previous year's question papers, get an idea what they are asking, what they want from you, and if there is a senior you can talk to them who have completed the exam. They will give you basic idea because every state also ask local laws of that state. For example, UP you have local laws, for example land laws of the state, which is going to be which is not taught in the college. And basic law paper is usually taught in the college. Good, go through them and have an idea with regard to the question paper, with what they are asking from you. So you have basically, I will say, the 6 months to 1 year is basically more than enough time to prepare for the judicial service exam. If you have good understanding, if you have listened to the lectures in the college, if you know basic about the law, so it's good enough. Otherwise, you can go to their many coaching institute also who are preparing for the judicial service exams. You can go through them also. They are also very good. Many of them have went through these coaching centers and have successfully
Right.
successfully done the exam.
Yeah. Right. So, two questions. Sir, can you discuss any one case? No. This is something which I would not like to take right now. One question is, sir, how difficult is the exam, and is there the requirement of getting into a decent law school to crack an examination? And then there is this another question. College matters in cracking judiciary. Again, the same question. And one other question was there, and how difficult sections in judicial service paper. So I just want you to address whether college or whether a prior education really matters when it comes to cracking judiciary for that matter.
So basically, what I want to say is that college does not matter at all. If you are in a good college or in a ठीक-ठाक college, does not matter at all. Basically, what happens in law college is that basically the law papers is the same. You have the same CRPC taught in NLS Bangalore and other law colleges. What will change is when you are paying for this judicial service exam is that basically for the objective paper, for example, if you get the objective, the preliminary exam paper, you have multiple choice questions where they are going to ask sections. So you have to mug the sections also. Basically, these can be divided into two parts. First, when you are paying for the preliminary exam, you have to mug the sections because they are going to ask you every section of these bare acts. So basically, going to law colleges, a good law college and a bad law college is not going to impact so much with regard to your preparation for the judicial service exam, because what eventually do happen in law colleges is that you are taught the subject in a very non-compete sense. For example, they are taught, acha, theek hai, contractor, they are going to deal with you sections. In every law college, this happens. So this is not going to change at all. It's after you, well, with what are the hard work that you give with regard to preparing for this exam, that does matter. Colleges does not matter at all. If you can go through any colleges, it's about the. I have seen many students who have completed the exam have gone through distance learning law colleges. They have never attended a college, gone through distance learning law colleges, and eventually cleared the judicial service exams. So it's all about how you work, how you plan yourself. It's not, and further, it's not about the hard work that you put. It's about the work that you do in these hours. For example, if you're good at studying 5 to 6 hours, is more than enough. 5 to 6 hours of good study can give you enough confidence to appear for the exam rather than working for around 12 to 15 hours. It's not make any sense. You study for 5 to 6 hours regularly for 6 months to 1 year is more than enough for competing in any good exam of this country.
Right, right. And that I think answers Riddhi's question as well. She asked us, what do you do when the person is not so good at debating? So of course, Riddhi, you do not require any innate predilection to debate or the skill to debate. That is absolutely not required when you want to appear for judiciary. It's just that you have to focus on the examination. As Sumit was saying, the examination will be your MIBA. Study diligently, focused studying will be enough to get you into one of the judicial services across, it could be any state for that matter, whichever state you want to appear in, especially your home states. Now, Siddharth has been asking a lot of interesting questions, but sadly, Siddharth, no offense, I was not able to take a lot of questions because the sudden deluge of questions. So the first question was which Siddharth asked was how was the infrastructure of the Indian courts? It's actually good, but that is something which is slightly inconsequential right now. The other question which you asked was really interesting. Whether subordinate judiciary faces stagnancy in growth. So that is one question. And the other question was how secluded the judicial services is. So he used the term hermit, Siddharth, but I don't think that is something which could have been which could be appropriately used for the life of a judge. But then, yes, I would want you to address these two issues, Sumit. First is how secluded do you think a judicial officer is supposed to be, and the second one being how stagnant the scope or the growth in judiciary is in practical sense, for that matter.
So coming with the stagnancy thing, uh, for example, when you get selected for judicial magistrate of the first class, in UP, for example, it's good. There is a chances of promotion very good. You get promoted to the senior division level at a very early stage. For example, after 3 to 5 years, there are chances of promotion where you get promoted to senior division, and after being senior division to 5 years, you can get promoted again to the higher judicial service. So I think in UP the growth and the stagnancy is not as much as in other states. For example, in Delhi you have stagnancy, you have a high stagnancy because there are way less number of seats, because there are less number of districts. In UP you have 80 districts, you have a good amount of seats available for senior division. So stagnancy is a thing which depends upon states. For example, in UP you have good chances of promotion at a very early stage. For example, if you look at for around 2 to 2.5 years only, they get promoted to senior division. They got promoted to senior division. So basically, it's not as stagnant as one may say. But after a certain period of time, there is a chances that you may feel like the work that you are doing is so much monotonous that you are doing the same thing. You're going to court, listening to the same matters, coming back again home, going through the files. This may happen at certain stage, but the work that you do is interesting. Every day you get to know so much different variety of people having their own issues in life. You are going to deal with them. So it's balanced in both the side. Now coming to the secluded part, yes, you are told that you should not go out in the society so often, you should not interact because you may not know कि किसका cases तुम कल सुन रहे हो कोर्ट में. So basically you are told as advised by seniors and the academies that we want to go through, that you should not interact, you should not go out in the society so often. If you have anything, if any work you have to go, call your orderlies, call your staff, get your work done. बेसिकली ठीक है, थोड़ा सा हट के रहना पड़ता है बिकॉज यू डोंट नो कि किसका केस कल तुम्हारे कोर्ट में आ जाए. One should not be in a condition or in a situation where one has to justify himself or herself with regard to the orders that he or may see passes. So basically ये तो होता है कि you should थोड़ा सा distance by maintain करके रखना पड़ता है, क्योंकि छोटे जगह पे क्या होता है कि everyone knows everyone. और जुडिशरी में एक चीज ये है कि यू डोंट नो बिकॉज योर जजमेंट्स आर गोइंग टू गो गेट यू एवरीवेयर. यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन योर सेल्फ एनीवेयर. इट्स योर जजमेंट दैट इज गोइंग टू स्पीक फॉर इट सेल्फ. सो अगर आप तुम्हारे जजमेंट पे इफ समवन फाइंड्स समथिंग इन योर जजमेंट, इट्स गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट यू एनीवेज. सो यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा देयर आर चांसेस कि हाँ थोड़ा सा रिस्ट्रिक्टेड लाइफ हो जाता है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. यू कैन हैव योर ओन टाइम. ऐसा नहीं है कि यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू गो एनीवेयर. ऐसा नहीं है, मतलब ठीक है, बीच का है बैलेंस.
Right, right. Superb, lovely insight to the life which you are leading right now. One last question from my side. So, of course, we know the fact that Montesquieu, as he has said, that there has been separation of power when it comes to the fields of democracy, which is the legislature, executive, and judiciary. How important do you think independence of judiciary is? A, and the second thing is, practically speaking, do you think judiciary is that independent? I'm not talking about the law judiciary. I'm talking about broader sense. Do you think at times it is somewhat influenced by the government, the political decision making, all of that? So, what are your thoughts on that?
With regard to the independence of judiciary, I think if you look at Article 50 of the Constitution of India, it says that executive and the judiciary should be separate from each other. So basically, if there is no independence of judiciary in this country, I think we are not a democracy anymore. Because for protecting the rights and liberties of the people of this country, independence of judiciary is a very vital thing. For example, if you look at the thing, if you look, a police officer is arresting someone, stating some charges against him, saying that he has committed murder, theft, dacoity, rape, any other offenses. Now he is coming from the court saying that he has a presumption of innocence in his favor. Now, what you are doing at this stage is that you have to make a balance, whether you want to grant him liberty at this stage, or whether you want him to send him behind the bars. So if the judiciary is not independent, if every other case people are going to send behind the bars, there is nothing left of democracy in this country. You look at the cases which is happening here in this country simply because someone is posting something, and if every other case people are going to send behind the bars, if your freedom of speech and expression, everything is going for a toss. There is nothing left here. Now, independence of judiciary is very vital in certain sense. For example, if you look at the working that I do at the district level, you have many cases pending against the government. People are filing cases against the government, saying that they have government is taking away their land, government is not providing them the services which they are entitled to pay them. They are filed cases against them. Government is taking away their lands. These are the cases which eventually appear before the court. Now, if there is no independence of the judiciary, these people they have no relief to, they have no place to go, where they are going to, where they will go to find the relief that they wanted, who is going to hear their cries and their voices. So independence of judiciary is very much, and I think in a much better sense, there is independence of judiciary, barring few exceptions. There can be certain issues in the can be certain issue where people may question the independence of judiciary having some political interference, but from my understanding these are certain irregularities, I may say. Overall, if you look at the institution, it's not that bad. You can have some n number certain cases, but you may look at different way, saying that, for example, if you look at the Supreme Court, you can have saying that these are the judgments which give political favorism in certain sense. But I don't think this these are certain number of cases which have certain political influences. But overall, if you look at things, it is independent in a many sense. It is not it has not been a organ of the executive. It is completely independent in many ways, and it should be independent in many ways.
Right. Thanks a lot, Sumit, for the lovely insight for everything related to the background. We started from how to take transition from 12th science stream to arts, and then we are speaking about how judiciary is independent and is one of the most important features of democracy for the judiciary to be independent. I would just like you to give a small message to our CLAT aspirants or any other law entrance examination aspirants for that matter. A lot of these students would be from college and other fields of law as well. So, what would be your message to the people who are watching us?
Basically, for the students who are appearing for the CLAT and the law entrance exams, uh, all the best for your exams. Uh, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job preparing for the exams. Uh, Appear for the exam, all the best. And once you enter the exam, enjoy the college life. College life is very much important for your personality development and other purposes. Enjoy the college life, throw yourself around, talk to everyone around, participate in any other thing that happens in the college, go to moot courts, go to debates, go to legal aid committees that are formed in college. I think every college has their legal aid committees. Work in the legal aid committee, you will get to know, find about people in the surroundings, visit villages nearby, and have a understanding that these, when you study law, this is a social science, and this is not just a subject when you that you read in your books. This is subject that you read visiting, going through the society, because law is a thing which is very dynamic, it keeps on changing as society changes. So interact with society as often, interact with seniors, interact with senior advocates, and then throw yourself around, look every possible thing that is going around you, and then come to a conclusion whether you find yourself committed to serve judicial services or committed to go through other services, uh, go through litigation, go to corporate, serve yourself better. And finally, if you start preparing for judicial services, I am always around. If you need any help, you can contact me. Aditya will give you my number and the contact details, and all the best for the future endeavors.
Right, and before you guys go, these are the upcoming events for you. So 16th to 19th March, we have planned LSAT India Park Place session. This is a property of Initiate, will be happening from 7 to 9 p.m. The links of this session is already on the description of this video, so you can check it out. Enroll yourself, register for the event. The title is Get Set Flow HTML. You will find the list of the sessions which we have planned. Then we have Quizzed Weekly Law Scoop and Improving Legal Vocabulary session from Initiate coming for you. Do subscribe to our channel for a lot more interesting stuff which is going to come. Thank you so much, Sumit. It was lovely interacting with you. Lovely to speak such an inspiring judge, and we wish you all the very best. I know it's a very difficult task which is there on your shoulders, but we are pretty confident that you're going to do justice and you are going to be an awesome judge. Thank you so much for your time, Sumit. Thank you everyone for attending the session. We will
It's
come
pleasure.
back.
Thank you.